Hi guys, it's Christina, welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm gonna share with you what I drew last weekend. And as I mentioned in the previous video last Monday, I'm gonna make it into a series and I'm just gonna come here and just share my drawing process for the weekend, explain what I'm doing. And if you yourself are drawing something or working on something, I think it could be a good idea to just, make you some company, and if you're drawing something you can just put this video on and just feel like you're not alone, we're all drawing here. So basically, as I mentioned, I want this video to be more like a podcast, very chill, very relaxing. We're just geeking out about art, geeking out about what we're doing, what we're drawing, and yeah. So for this weekend, basically where I started is I have this scene that I'm working on. If you saw my video, everything I drew in 2020, you kind of can see how I arrived at the scene. Basically, it's the last scene of chapter 8. So in this scene, we have like a bunch of characters. There's a lot of characters in the scene, and this is the scene of my second protagonist, Kroy. It's this guy with long black hair and a braided, he's wearing a braid in this particular scene, but he wears a lot of different hairstyles. So he's not particularly attached to any of them. But basically in this scene, this guy is gonna realizing what he got himself into, where he's encountering this group of guards that are guarding basically travelers. They're hired to guard those travelers, and this guy is realizing that he basically hired for the very same job, even though he has no interest to be a guard. And also in this scene he realizes the dangers this world has. He is native to this world, he was born into this world. Two of my protagonists, I have two main protagonists, and one, the girl with the white hair, you probably see her on my channel quite a lot. Her name is Sakai, but she was born in human world, and in my story it's called reality, not the world, but she was born just with us in Toronto. So for her, when she comes to this world, everything is brand new. But for Kroy, he was born on Silana in this magical world, but then, because of some circumstances, he ended up in human world. So he haven't been to Silana for some time. So now he arrived, even though he understands a lot of stuff about how this world works. Basically, he understands how this world works. He knows how to use magic. He knows what types of magic. He has his place in society somewhat, like he can blend in society. However, as worlds tend to do, they change, they evolve. And so basically now, as he arrived at this world, he realizes that he needs to get updated on what's been happening, because a lot of things have been happening. Currently situation, this world, I mean, not the world itself at this point, but basically province they're in, northern provinces are like countries in this world. They're experiencing a lot of unrest and just conflicts with main power, and it's just a whole mess. So it's basically the province is doing worse than it was, and Kroy is kind of learning that things are not the way they were, and he is not super pleased about this. So basically that's the situation, that's unraveling in this scene. He's kind of realizing what he got himself into. He realized that he is being tricked into being kind of a frontline guard, basically endangering his own life to protect the travelers, even though maybe he never subscribed to it, but he's been chosen because of his race, which is he's Kondra. And as you can see, like, those guys have black hair, they have tails and everything. They have better instincts, not like instincts, they have better hearing, they're a little bit faster, so they have they're physically, they're a little stronger than the other race, and they also see better at nighttime. They see a little worse in daytime, but basically they're more comfortable in nighttime. And what those guards are protecting the travelers from is firstborns. They're kind of considered monsters at a certain point in time in the story, and they've been plaguing the northern province and killing people left or right. So the firstborns are connected to this race. They're like ancient version of this race. Think humans and monkeys type of thing. So we know that we are connected to monkeys genetically, and probably humans became humans from the monkey, but now we're a completely different species. But you can see similarities. But basically those monsters, they are this way connected to Kondra, to what Kuroi's race is. And that's why just his race, like people from his race are typically chosen to be the one who are, guarding or protecting other people from them. Like they're more likely to be hired for this job, just because they share certain similarities, so they can see in the dark. And obviously those firstborns, they have kind of like the same physical abilities. So Condors are a better choice to do this. So he realizes that he kind of been tricked to kind of be locked into this position just because of his race and because of the fact that he appears to be statusless in this world, or his status is not complete. Because in this world, there is a system of crafts that you can possess, and the way, like, what craft do you have and what level of your craft you have, this determines where you're going to be in the society. So they don't have, like, classic monetary economics, like they don't have money or something like this. This is more of a socialist type of system, I suppose, because basically what they have this system of crafts. You can learn and eventually master some sort of a craft, and you contribute to a society with this craft. You literally do what needs to be done with this craft, and then you benefit from the society, so from other people who learn different types of crafts. Obviously, there is more complex details on what crafts do you choose, and to which degree you can contribute, what depending on which city you are and what resources they have, what you can get back. There's more details to the system, but in a nutshell, is basically you become a craftsman, you learn certain skill, you contribute to the society with the skill, and the insurance society provides for you with the skills of other people, basically. And there is a wide range of crafts that you can do, and not crafts are made equal. Some are more hard to learn. Obviously, some take more time to learn. Some are considered to be more prestigious. Some are considered to be like a lower one. And the thing in North, at least, what can show to other people what type of a craft you have and how good you are at your craft and how well you integrate it to the society of your craft, like on what level you operate with your craft, on like a city level, your local, community, or on a provincial level, which means that's a way higher status and you have more responsibilities, but at the same time you're more respected, and there are perks that come with it. And something that shows all of that information is badges. It is metal that has basically written all your craft journey on it, all your training that you have, everything that you've done. So this is the thing that kind of like your passport that you have all the time. And this is what you show to people when they want to identify who you are. And because our protagonist, he spent quite a lot of time not on Silana, his badge is outdated. It doesn't have enough information, so it literally looks like people who look at his badge right now that he kind of looked like a dropout basically. So he was studying something, learning something, and then it stops, and his current age doesn't match his badge, so it looks like he at some point just stopped doing anything, and that's it. I never done anything, never learned any craft, so he looks pretty much like statusless, or the person who didn't continue with what society demands of them. Even though his badge and the craft that he has on his badge is pretty fancy, like it's considered one of the high crafts, and the one that is very hard to learn, the one that you spend a decade learning, and then you're very respected in the society. Society technically cannot really function on a good level without this craft. This craft is very valuable. So people kind of take advantage of the situation, like looking at his race, that he's gonna work for the job, and also that he can't really say no. They just assume that once in the situation he cannot just leave, because clearly something is going on with his status. What's up? Something is shady. He is not able to provide for himself in the society, like according to how society works. So that's why he kind of gets into the situation. So they think they take advantage of him in that regard, but he is more taken aback by the situation because he is learning what happened to this world, that the problem with this firstborn is so bad that people literally need to travel with basically soldiers to protect them. That never happened when he was there before. So long story short, I literally went on temper tantrum to talk about this, but it just makes sense. And also, this is like a chatty podcast, and maybe it's maybe beneficial for you to ever learn about what's up with my story, and you can judge for myself if my advice is any good. Maybe you just listen and be like, wow, that's just stupid, and we cannot listen to you, which is, now you know. No, I cannot judge you. But yeah, so this is the scene, and I wanted, so basically, as this situation dawns on him, I like to have this romantic thing, like romantic, not in serial, like a lovey-dovey one, but romanticism as a genre in art, basically, where nature and surroundings of the characters reflects the emotional state. That's kind of what I'm doing in my comic. I just like use colors and using like everything I have in the environment to kind of communicate character state. So as it started dawning on him, this is where nights fall, basically. And the night deepens, and he gets himself deeper and deeper into the situation. And there's basically the gist. It's not the gist of the whole scene. There's way more happening, but I'm not going further into the scene in this drawing session by literally working on maybe 2-3 pages right now. And as you can see, what I'm doing, I go back and forth. So I first of all, I jump between the pages a lot. This is what I love doing because it's for productivity reasons. If I stuck and I work in chronological order, if I stuck, for example, I will be stuck. If I just, this panel is not working, it means it's stopping my whole comic. So if I'm slowing down on one panel, I can always jump on another panel. And if I'm slowing down on the page, I can always jump on another page. And I like to have a lot of pages open. As you can see, I like to have my reference board in the corner. I will link a video about reference board. I really recommend using them. There's some sort of a stigma of using photographs. I don't understand why people in traditional art use models all the time. I think it should be like the line drawn where you just don't copy the photo. That's just boring. Like, why would you do that? Like, it's not boring for your viewer. Like, it obviously is boring for your viewer, but it's also boring for you. Why would you do this? I don't understand. But yeah, just using references to make sure you have all the colors, you know how things look like. You just they can look and immediately draw them in realistic style. It's great. It's improve your quality, improves your speed, fantastic stuff. And you learn all the time. When you're using photos, you learn because we just don't know how everything looks like in the world, and then with reference, we can also be reminded and learn how to draw everything. And as you can see, I like working with the backgrounds. I can also I have like a whole series about how I create backgrounds, and I like create them on a separate strip whatsoever. So how it's kind of like the idea that it uses in cartoons. Basically, characters and backgrounds are working separately. So everything that's in the cartoon, everything that is being animated, everything that is like moves from frame to frame is foreground and it's drawn separately. And everything that is not moving, that is basically stays still while everything else is moving, is background. And the thing is, it really helps because you can draw a background separately and then you can put all your animated elements on top. And that saves you a lot of time because you obviously don't need to draw background on every frame, which would be ridiculous. So basically, I stole this idea and I'm using it in the comic. I just draw my background for the scene once. Like, again, not like once. You have to draw several areas of background. Like either you draw the whole dome, 360 type of dome, or you just draw like sides, like north, west, east. You just choose like areas that will be appearing in your scene. Just don't have to draw everything if not everything is appearing, and just draw. What I like to do, I'm drawing high quality, very high res background for the whole scene. So you can see, for example, now I'm drawing this grass is because it's just a background for like behind the character, behind Croy, and I know that this side will be appearing again and again, like basically every time, like as the character is going down this hill and then they stop in front of the forest, every time the camera will be facing Kuroi, like when the characters will talk back at him, this background will be always behind him because this is how characters will just stop eventually and they will stand, like there will be certain backgrounds behind certain characters. So I'm drawing all this grass in high detail just because I know that it's going to be appearing again and again and again. And yeah, that actually in the video that is coming up, or maybe it's out. I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm producing so many videos lately. Like I'm filming every day, and I don't know. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I actually don't know when anything comes up. But the video, at least that I just filmed, is all about what I learned about my own drawing process while recording my whole year, because this whole year I was basically recording everything I drew. And what I learned is that grass takes the longest time for me to draw. And as you can see, this is exactly why. Do you see? Like, it's just, you would imagine that grass is like such a not important element and it's not complicated at all. It doesn't take a lot of brain power to draw grass. It's not something like anatomy, a complex pose, or complex composition, or drawing something that you've never drawn before. No, it's pretty easy, but it takes so much time. Just look at it. It's so excruciating. All of these tiny elements. And as you can see, I keep pasting it behind the character, keep putting this background and realizing the grass that I drew doesn't cover the whole panel. And I have to go back to my background page and draw some more. So, oh my God. So basically, as you can see, like the way I paste background, so I always paste them in the very beginning when the characters are just like very sketchy drawn. So I already see how everything's gonna play out. Then as I draw characters, I use colors from the background around them. Just to, for example, I draw in a character and I realize, okay, I wanna kind of cut into their silhouette a little bit. And I just grab the color from the background and do this. So when I paste the final background on top, I just go and kind of paint background like with a mask on top again on the edges. I don't know if it makes sense. It does make sense when you look my background videos, like because I do it in a lot of details. But basically, I kind of have background behind everything, and then after the drawing almost done, I copy background and just with a mask I kind of paint like the edges over, and then I paint hair on top. I don't know. I'm feeling that I'm not making a lot of sense. I hope the video helps to explain what I'm doing. Yeah, but basically, as you can see, this page is almost complete. And now in the end, I really like adding those final touches, like little glows from the sun, little hues, just to kind of bring the picture together, bring the scene together. And especially with the sun glow, oh my gosh, I love doing this like lens flare, not like lens flare, it's not really lens flare, like a bleed from the sun and a little bit of light wrap. I don't know, I'm just a sucker for this. I started doing it in maybe chapter 6 and I realized, whoa, it really brings the whole chapter together. And I don't know, it makes it so complete, so professional, you know. And yeah, and also another thing that I like doing, I love doing this edge lit hair, like the little hairlings on the edge. I don't know. It's obviously stylized effect. It does happen with hair a lot when you are standing against the light. The edges of your hair will be lit, and the little hairs will appear like this bright color. It's pretty cool. Just Google images of how like hair against the light, gorgeous. But first of all, it looks really awesome. That's why I do it. Second of all, it really helps to separate character from the background even more. I do blur my backgrounds, like defocus them, and I use this hair technique to help me out. I really love doing this. And yeah, this is the final touches that I love doing when I'm finished drawing, is doing this little hairs here and there, little hair details. And I like thinking, okay, well, like for example, this lady, I don't know, she's still gonna be like she's not the main character, but it doesn't mean that I'm not putting all my thought into her. And I keep thinking, okay, what age she is, what's her story, what happened to her before this scene is happening. She has gray hair. Why she has gray hair? So I'm thinking, looks like she has a patch of gray hair from a head injury. It looks like she got burned by agents. Basically, it's like how the weapon works. It's like they're shooting this hot combustive energy, and it looks like she was injured, and maybe that's why she has like a patch of gray hair. I just keep thinking of this. I like thinking like even the character appears for a little while, I still want them to have some sort of a history. I don't need to tell it. It's actually better if I never tell it, but I want this history to be spoken through their appearance, how they act, what they do. I don't know. I don't know. I just like doing this. It's I think what makes your world more lived in is all these details that you put in, like those tiny things that you don't have to stop and explain, and you don't have to really discuss in your story. They're just there, and they help just to make your world more realistic and more lived in and more detailed. And yeah, that's kind of what I feel. And I don't know, I really like doing this for my story. Another thing that I like to keep in mind for my comic is appearances of pigeons. And pigeons, I mentioned on several occasions the fact that they are very important for the story because they are kind of like cell phones, and they're very they're very magical beings, and then they can transmit information on like different level. Like I took pigeons from real world because traditionally in the old ages, I keep thinking, like I mentioned it in Everything I Drew in 2020 video, I keep mentioning that I kept this idea about my world that it connected with human world at some point, and it just, the humans adopted a lot of things from Silana and took it as their own, like culture, mythos, like legends and whatnot. So for example, Kondra, the appearance of Kondra, humans might interpret it as elves or devils or pans. Like that's why they look like this. I made them look like this. It's like something that humans, you can see, like if humans saw a Kondra maybe couple thousand years ago, 1,000 years ago, they would be like, oh my gosh, and this would like start this legends and everything. The same with pigeons. I know that in all ages, like we use pigeons to move messages. Like pigeon would fly to their partner pigeon, and pigeons are very famous for being a messenger. So I'm thinking, so in Silana, they're actually magical creatures that transmute information because they can transmit information visually. They can literally just put information into your brain. They can see what's happening in your head, and they fly not in the air, but they kind of disappear in and then appear like miles away because they fly through like subconsciousness field of the world. Like Silana has consciousness, everything that happens now, and like the whole other world, like basically dream world is real. It's a real thing. It's like all the dreams of everybody, dreams of the world of creatures, everything that could be, would be, thoughts, fears, everything. Silana has its own space where it is, and those pigeons fly through the space. So I thought maybe on Silana, where pigeons are really designed to transmit messages and whatnot, then humans saw it when the worlds interacted, and they were like, ooh, cool idea. And they started using their own pigeons for the same purposes because they got the idea, but human pigeons doesn't work the same. I don't know. This is kind of what I like thinking about. Maybe I shouldn't think about all those stuff, but this is, I don't know, very fun stuff for me. Because another thing I like thinking about is that this idea of what my story is it high fantasy or is it low fantasy? Because I don't think Western I don't think Western literature has the term for those stories when somebody goes in another world. Or do they? If you guys know the term, please let me know down below, because I only know the term isekai, which is like a Japanese word for this type of stories when somebody comes to another world, and they have quite a lot of stories like this. So because in this case, I keep wondering, so my character, so we have real world present, so, and then we have a fantasy world present. So we have both. So which one is it? Which genre is my story? Low or high fantasy? I assume high fantasy because the main plot line is happening is the world that is completely created, but also it still has real world, and the magic still interacts with real world. Like Harry Potter is considered low fantasy because it has real world, and then it has fantasy element to it. I don't see like my story is too much different, even though they physically go to another world and the whole other world is complete. But I guess, I don't know. That's another thing I keep wondering. I don't know. If you know the term, the Western term for isekai, please let me know. But the isekai, actually, I like it because Sakai's name is connected to the word isekai. I'm not sure how exactly the word isekai is created, but I'm pretty sure it has the word world in there, like coming to the world or something, because Sekai is world, and Sekai is basically, her name is based, my main character, her name is based on the just the word world. And yeah, I like the term isekai. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know, guys know down below. But this scene that I'm currently drawing, this grass on the slope, oh boy. When I was drawing this, my computer shut down, I think twice, and I lost progress. And I was so pissed. It's like this tiny panel cost me a lot of pain just because I would draw this grass, draw this grass, draw this grass again, and my computer would shut down. And when computer shuts down, sometimes Photoshop recovers the file. It just had something like some autosave. It will just bring the autosave file. That would still not be the latest version. Or if there's no such file, it will just, you just pray you saved sometime, close to shutdown situation, because otherwise you lose progress. You lose progress either way, actually. But the worst things can happen. I don't know, guys, be careful, because if your computer shuts down or something gets broken, or you're angry, turn off your computer. If your file was saving while it happened, then you're in big trouble, because the way how files are, like when you save file, basically it saves the new file over. So basically it kind of deletes the old file and starts saving new file in the space available from where the old version of the file was. So when you shut down during this process, you didn't save completely the new file, and the old one is erased. So you will have a corrupted file that you cannot, you cannot restore it, because there's nothing to restore. You don't have information. So this is a thing that also happened to me. There was a whole page that got kind of corrupted like this, and I can never recover. It's from the chapter 7. No, from chapter 6. Oh my gosh, I was so upset. But yeah, so with this grass, for some reason, my computer decided to shut down, and I actually just got new RAM for my computer. Not like new, like additional RAM. So now I have 64 gigabytes of RAM. Come on, be able to do this. The problem is just because we're all working from home. And as you guys know, I work in movie industry, so I do visual effects for movies. I do freelance of them sometimes. So because we're working from home now, sometimes I have to work on 3D programs at home, which is... I didn't buy a computer to do that. I bought my computer to draw comics, and I upgraded my computer this spring just to do more video editing, just because I started doing YouTube and just processing a lot of video files. And potentially I thought maybe I want to do some graphics in After Effects or whatnot. But basically that's the extent of it. So I got 32 gigabytes of RAM, like computer with 32 gigabytes of RAM. And it should be more than enough. And because I have a Mac, Mac has kind of like the way they use RAM is more efficient than PC. That's what I noticed. Like less RAM means more on Mac than on PC. I don't know. But I use 3D programs now. So I have a lot of 3D programs that I have to work on my computer, and 32 gigabytes of RAM is not enough. For example, just a launcher for one of the 3D programs uses 90 gigabytes on my startup drive. Just the launcher. So mini render. Eventually I finished that panel. I don't think I finished it in this recording session because I got so pissed. And I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm actually curious. I put the obvious recordings together, but as I'm watching them, as I'm talking to you now, I sometimes get surprised. I'm like, ooh, I drew this too. So, oh yeah, now I'm drawing this pigeon because I forgot to draw a pigeon on this one. So I spent so much time drawing this guy's face on this panel, just because the angle is pretty complicated and emotion is pretty complicated. Like, not complicated, it's like, oh my god, it's hard to draw this emotion. It's subtle. So in order to get this emotion right, you just have to work and work and work. And because it's not like it has this subtle emotion. I mean, okay, it's not really subtle. It's obvious that he is in distress, but the different variations of emotions that he has on his face. So he has concern, he has fear, stress. It's like a very more nuanced. It's obvious emotion, but it's more nuanced. It's like a mix of emotions. And also we gotta see him bounding down, looking down with his face, and I find it tricky when the person is looking down, but like with his head, to also draw his eyes widened from like when you're looking from up. I don't know. It's just difficult because widened eyes, you don't see the widening too awesome, obvious. Yes, like if you look from above. I don't know. It was difficult to draw. But when I finished and I realized I'm happy, I realized I kind of felt like maybe I forgot a pigeon, but I was like, I don't care. I just want to finish this panel. I'm so proud of myself. Maybe the pigeon flew away. Maybe I can draw this pigeon flying away. I don't know. Maybe he's circling around them, blah, 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 blah. It's not sitting on his shoulder. Maybe you can figure something out about this. No, it has to sit on his shoulder because it's relevant for the plot. Like pigeon is like kind of, not like bites him, but it's kind of distracts him. He like grabs for his earring to distract him. Basically, his pigeon needs to sit on his shoulder. So I was like, God damn, I need to draw a pigeon there. Even though I was so happy with those 2 panels, I'm like, damn, I finished those 2 panels. I'm like almost done with the page. Just need to draw like a middle panel and the page would be done. No, I have to go back and draw the pigeon. And with this pigeon, particularly like on the smaller panel on the bottom, I had more fun because so the guy looks down and then he looks up and he says, like, he has a like expressive line of dialogue. He like, what's up? What the hell is going on? Explain to me. So he's like, does this sharp action when he rises up. And I thought, poor pigeon is probably sliding from his shoulder from this action. And because emotion, like the animals don't have, they don't emote like humans. It's so funny because poor pigeon is sliding using his wings to clearly balance himself, but he still has this unbothered pigeon face, while the guy is just like, what's up? Explain it to me. He has like this angry face, not like demanding. He's like, I don't know. And I had fun drawing this sliding pigeon who's like, oops, I think I'm sliding down the shoulder. This guy's moving too harsh. And I think probably poor pigeon doesn't have nothing to grab. His shoulder of the is like a leather materials, probably not really good for grabbing. And overall, I want to like things I want to do in my comic more is experiment with the way pigeons move when they're startled or something like this. Oh, so I don't know. So I really enjoy when how like people walk and how pigeons behave on their shoulders. Yeah, now I moved to this middle panel. I didn't finish the pigeons, by the way. They're not done. That's kind of what I meant earlier, that if I feel like a little bored, I feel like I'm slowing down, I'm, a little over certain page or panel, I just go to another one. Because to me, the most important is just keep going and keep interested, and also have good relationship with my comic when I'm constantly interested and constantly engaged. That's kind of what I try to achieve. So I jumped to drawing this pose, and it wasn't hard pose, this particular one, but I noticed that I'm struggling with drawing like guys' butts. I don't know what does it mean, because I think the shape is pretty complicated, honestly. Like female butts, they're just round, and guys' butts, they kind of like the thigh area is more like oval, but then the butt itself is pretty square. It's like a beveled cube. I don't know. I don't know. It sounds pretty weird, but just like things artists go, we just observe random body parts, and just some of them are difficult to draw or easy to draw, and you enjoy them drawing for absolutely non-appropriate reasons, because I don't think about parts of the bodies of my characters as like parts of human bodies. I just think of them as shapes. And sometimes on the street, I do check out people's like bodies like crazy, because I just, ooh, she has nice legs. Interesting. I like how this muscle connects to this muscle. Let me just check this girl out while she runs past me. Or sometimes we're like, oh, this guy's butt is really making a lot of sense, because, like, again, guys' butts are kind of difficult to draw, in my opinion. I will be like checking out, remembering, thinking, okay, like the guy would be walking, and I'll be like, okay, so this is how it looks when this leg is on front. This is how it looks with this leg is on front. I'm pretty sure I look like a creep a lot of the times, but I don't mean it. I'm really just an artist, and I am obsessed with anatomy, and I just check out, like, the whole world is reference. But for this pose, it was actually easy. Usually when I draw, like, the male characters from behind, it's a little bit more challenging, I notice. I don't know. Female behind, so easier for me to draw. I don't know, the shape is more understandable. So yeah, that is it for the first installment of my little podcast, Draw With Me on the Weekends type of series. So let me guys know what you think about it, and I'm gonna come in with another rambling episode for next Monday. So thank you so much guys for watching, and I hope to see you in my next one. Thank you guys.